So in this video, we're talking about variables in DAX. How can you declare variable? How can you make your DAX look very structured and very neat? How can you format your DAX effectively? And how can you kind of comment inside your DAX measure? That's what we'll be doing in this video. So an example of that, I wrote a measure of recent that shows me a calculate of total revenue and I use all and all selected and all that. So what if I want to use variable to kind of use this total revenue instead? If I now create this calculate. So there's so many things I can do. So if I click on my new measure, so I can kind of write a measures that shows the let's say the total or I want to divide, probably I want to divide my total revenue by my total, which is total rev without filter. So I want to get like percentage of grand total, so I can do percentage or total, right, equal sign. Now before I start declaring a variable, one thing you should know is that I was just writing DAX like this, just calculate like this in my video, but you can kind of go to the next line when you want to write another DAX. So if you click on shift on your keyboard and you hit enter, it will move to the second line. So you can see that you are now on line 2. So to declare a variable in DAX, you can start with typing a var. So you will see that when I type a var, some measures actually came up, but variable is not a measure, right? It's just a declaration in DAX. You can declare something and say this is what these functions are, this is what this is for, and that is what a variable is for. So variable is just let me say a command that you use to control something. Just a command you use to kind of declare something. That's what a variable is. So when I put a space here, you see this is var. That's a variable, and a variable starts with a name. So what is the name of a variable? So what name are you giving to a variable? So I can say I want to declare a variable called total ref, right? I want to declare a variable called total ref, and you see that in green. So after you declare a name in a variable, the next thing you do is you put equals to and you declare the functions for that variable. Let's say, for example, I want to do sum, right? I want to do sum of my fact sales revenue. Sum of my fact sales revenue, that's my variable called total revenue. So I just declare a variable called total revenue. That's what I just did. So every variable will require declaration and return, right? You have to declare, then you return. So you have to declare and you return. That's how a variable works, right? So I can use my shift enter again to move to the next line, and I declare also another variable. So this other variable I can declare here. So I can call this one the total without filter. Total without filter, right? Total without filter. So in this one, I can still do equal sign and then do my calculate, right? And I can now reference my variable. Meanwhile, another thing you should know is that the variable in DAX is not global like the variable in Python. So variable here is kind of local, so you can only use a variable inside the same measure. So you can't call the same variable out from another measure. So I can call the variable I've already written before called total ref, and the way you will know a sign of a variable is that it will come with this X sign. You see this X. So when you see this X in your DAX, you know this is a variable, and you just declare. So I'm going to pick that. So after picking that, then I'm going to put all, right? All fact sales, right? All fact sales. That's what I'm going to select. All fact sales, right? So that is going to give me a total. So I've declared another variable basically. I've declared another variable basically. So I can also declare another variable. So variable kind of make your DAX easier, and it's kind of make your DAX readable, so people can see it and read it easily, and they can understand what is going on in there. So the first measure I wrote is just a total revenue, and this is a total without a filter. And then the last variable I'm going to do is just to divide my since I'm going to do percentage of grand total, so I'll just divide my revenue by my total without revenue. So I can say total ref, which is the variable that I declare, but I'm going to call this something. Remember, right? I'm going to call it something. So this is my percent of total, right? That's the name of the variable. Then I'm going to just basically say my total ref which is the variable that I declared before. Remember I said it's going to come with an X sign. So a measure will come with a calculator sign. A function will come with an FX sign, but a variable will come with a single X sign. So can you see that single X sign? So total rev divided by total without filter. Total without filter, and that is it. This is the variable I declare. So this is total rev divided by total revenue without filter, right? So remember I said a variable we always need a return. So what I'm going to do is to come here and return it. So let me put it in capital. You can put it in a small letter too, but it's fine. So I just want to return, what I want to return here is the variable called percent of grand total of total, which is this one here, right? That's what I want to return. And when I hit enter right now, it's going to kind of create the formula for me. So one thing you should know is that when you use variable like this, it's kind of make life easier for you. It make life easier for you, and you can this is the measure that I wrote here, and these are the percentage. So it makes life easier for you, and you can always kind of do anything you want to do with that measure and declare the variable very correctly. So another thing I'm also going to show you is the percentage of how to format your DAX nicely. So there's a website called DAX Formatter. If you go to Google and you type daxformatter.com, daxformatter.com, so you can format your DAX nicely from this website. So if I copy this measure like this and I take it to my DAX formatter and I paste it and I click on format. So look at this. So I can now copy it back, go to my Power BI desktop, and then paste it here. So this arrange my measure nicely and kind of format it nicely. So I like when DAX is kind of very structured like this, because when it's structured like this, it makes life kind of easier for whoever is working on it. So it makes life easier for whoever is working on it, right? So life just get easier for you. So you don't have to kind of stretch yourself and then all that. So this make life easier. Now, another thing you can do is, let's say what I want to return is all selected, so I don't need this filter without filter. So I can kind of turn it into a comment. So when you put this two at the end of your formula, you've kind of turned that thing into a comment. So look at that. So I just put this two backslash here. So these two things here, I've turned it into a comment. So it's no longer a measure. It is now a comment right here. So even though I don't return it, it's not going to affect anything. And you can see that right here, this guy is no longer functioning because I've turned the argument there into a what? A comment, right? I've turned it into a comment. So let's say I want to kind of write another formula before I return my formula, and I want to call this total revenue with removing based on filter context. So I'm going to write another variable and call this total revenue based on filter context. So here I'm going to use all selected. So we'll just calculate my total ref, which is the total ref I did before, and I'll use all selected fact sales revenue, right? All selected fact sales revenue. So I'm going to do this, and now I'm going to reference this total ref back here, which is the one I just wrote. Total rev based on this. So this is the one I'm going to reference here. So if you look at this, this is now a comment, right? This is just a comment. That's how to turn a measure into a comment by putting the backsplash, right? So if I hit enter right now, I've basically changed the formula from what I had before. So I want the formula to rehash when I'm selecting something now. So when I'm probably selecting something here, I want it to now rehash based on that. I want it to do a percentage of total based on whatever I'm selecting, right? So that's the addition that I added.